All right. I'm going to work out the review assignment, day 32. So first, put your name at the top. Comment. And then I'd like you to print. Well, before we can do part one, we have to do import random. So you get a random number, and part one says to do a random number. So you can do this all in a single print. Random number between 17 and 29 inclusive. So that's random.randint 17, 29. You don't have to do one more than what you want on the second number. That's not how random works. And let's save your program and run it, and you get random number. And that is indeed between 17 and 29. And then I'd like you to print a blank line. A comment for number 2. And let's print 2 for loop. And the for loop, the numbers 4 through 8, one number on each line. So for x in range 4, 9, you got to do one more with a for loop than what you want. And we can do it like that. And then I want another print afterwards, just so that we have everything spaced out nicely. I'm going to run it. And we get the random number. That looked a little funny. Random number. And then the for loop. Awesome. Okay, let's go to part 3. I got another window with the PDF open so I can be looking at it. Go comment, it says part 3. And I want a for loop to print 4 through 48 in 5 columns, separated by tabs. Okay, awesome. All right, well, what we're going to do is we need a variable to count how many things we've printed. And then we're going to do for x in range 4, 49. That'll give us the numbers 4 through 48. And we're going to print x end equals tab. And then we're going to do c equals c plus 1. That's counting how many things we've printed. And if we've just hit a multiple of 5, if c modulo 5 equals 0, then we print a blank line. That's how we do every 5, a new line. And then we're going to print a blank line here at the end. I think I also wanted you to print right here. Yep. 3 for loop with columns. And let's see how this goes. Yeah, pretty good. And that's what it looked like in the PDF. Good. All right. And then I wanted you to make a function. Print for function. And we're going to define a function. I'm going to call it box. And it's taken some text. And it's supposed to print 20 stars. That's one way to get 20 stars. I just counted them in my head. And then I want you to print a single star. And oh, well, then we can just do text centered in 20 spaces. And then, oh, except it can't be a comma, it has to be a plus. And then it has to be a plus and another, and it's not 20 spaces, my bad, it's 18. And then a star to close it out. That'll that, and then we need this line again. My cursor's not blinking all right. Okay, but I forgot. I had another requirement here. and that is if the length of text is greater than 15, less than or equal to 15, then we're going to do this stuff. You can select multiple lines in idle and just hit control right square bracket to indent. And then we're going to say else and then print. I liked what I did, and I'm going to show you how I did it. I said text. I did a square bracket plus text, and then the square bracket, close square bracket. And then I said too long. It's too long. Here we go. So then I asked you to call the function. Call it with your name, and then call it with something that's too long. And we should get one printout that prints the box perfectly and one printout that prints the message is too long. So there we go. That's part 4. And then I want you to print a blank line. We're going to do part 5. Write code to create a list with your 3 favorite colors in it, then print the list using a for loop, 1 color per line. Don't use a break. Don't ask the user to enter anything. So print 5 favorite colors and colors. I'm going to call it faves equals and pink, yellow. These are 3 of my favorite colors. And then 4 C in faves. C. That's all you got to do. Please do your favorite colors, not my colors. I'd love to see just some measure of creativity on your part. And we're going to run it, make sure it works. Yes. Awesome. Okay. And then I gave you a variable, scores. I'm copying it out of the PDF. And this one is called list processing. I want the number in it. And we're going to paste this in. Scores equals. I really would rather you not have to type it. And then I want you to use a for loop and go through the list, report how many numbers are smaller than 60, and add them up. So what you want to do is have a count variable that has 0 in it, and have a total variable that has 0 in it. And then you can say for score in scores. And you can say if score is less than 60, then C equals C plus 1, and total equals total plus score. And after the for loop, I got after the for loop by backspacing there, I can print there are C for count, numbers less than 60, and they, I don't want a comma there, and they add to total. And I'd like you to print a blank line. And let's run it and see how that works. I don't want you to print there are 2 numbers less than 60 and they add to 98. That's not, I know you can print anything. I want you to use a for loop to do this, because what if I came in here and I changed this list to add another number? Then we'd get, hey, there's 3 numbers less than 60 and they add to something else. So I'm asking you, don't change it. Don't change my list. But I want you to write code that will work with anything, not just the list that's there. That's the important part of that part. Next, a try and accept that asks the user to enter a negative integer. and I need two different error messages, one if they don't enter an integer and one if they don't enter a negative number. So we're going to print 7 try except, and while true, try n equals int input, please enter a negative integer. Now, if they don't enter an integer, it's going to go to value error, except value error, print, it needs to be an integer. Please try again. And I'm going to put a space and a symbol there, just to, make it really stand out. Now we could run this, and I'll show you. This makes sure they enter an integer. So if I just say hello here instead of typing integer, it says, hey, it needs to be an integer. Please try again. Now I can see I want this here. But my code is not checking if I just enter 45. Well, because there's no break. Anyway, so let's finish the code. Easiest way to finish this is to say if n is less than 0, that's the definition of negative, break. Otherwise, print it has to, sorry, I'm doing my error messages. The number must be negative. Negative. Please try again. So now, there's other ways to do it, but this is a great way to do it. And I'm going to say print right here, just a blank line, and we're going to run it. So I'm going to try saying hello. It says, hey, it needs to be an integer, try again. And I'm going to try putting 55 in there, 555. Hey, it must be negative. Please try again. So now I'm going to try -9, and then it just moves on. And you see I got two different error messages. That's important here. And I guess in my example in the PDF, I said thanks, and I printed the number. But that's okay. You don't have to do that. And then part 8, pardon me, is that's for two different integers. We're gonna print 8 average. A equals int input. Please enter a number. And B equals int input. Please enter another number. And print the average is, and we need parentheses here, A plus B divided by 2. That's the average of two numbers. The way you find an average is you add up all the numbers that you're talking about, and then you divide by how many numbers there are. In this case, there's 2 numbers, so we're dividing by 2. If there were 20 numbers, we would add them all up and then divide by 20. But that is that. I'm going to enter a negative integer first try here, and I'm going to enter 12 and 14, and we should get 13 is the average. Awesome. So print a blank line, and finally, we're going to the turtle part. So we better, you can do it right here. It's not a crime. Number 9, from turtle, import star. And now I want you to draw 10 dots using in a row using a for loop where the dots start at size 10 and go to size 100. And each dot is a random color chosen from a list you make of at least 5 colors. So let's make a list of colors. The colors equals red, orange, yellow, green, white, blue. You do your own colors. And we're going to do for loop. I'm going to do a for loop from 1 to 10, and then we're going to multiply that number by 10. That's an easy way to go up by 10 each time. So I'm going to say for X in range 1, 11. That'll give me the numbers 1 through 10. And I'm going to do color. We're going to do random choice, the colors. Okay. And then we're going to do a dot, and the size is X times 10. And then I'm going to go to, I'm going to go forward. Forward, 20. Let's see what happens. Sadly, this we have to do and enter a negative number, and then I got to enter 2 numbers. And then, did it open up, Turtle? Oh, it did. Awesome. So I could see a couple of problems. 20 is not enough. Also, I should start to the left. So before I start drawing, why don't I do pen up, go to negative 200, 0. That goes to the left by a bunch. And then before I do the forward, I'm going to go pen up. And then I'm going to do pen down. And I also need to do a pen down over here. And we have to do more than 20. So let's do 50. Let's see what happens. Yeah. So enter a negative integer, negative 4, and enter 2 numbers. And I don't know why it's not opening up my my thing here, but those are random colors. Those go from 10 to 100, and I think that satisfies it. I did say you didn't have to. They don't have. It's okay if they overlap. I think what I might have done before was do how big the thing is, x times 10 plus 5 or something, just so that it's the distance traveled should change as they get thicker. So, that's good. I like that better. So that way they're actually not touching. And I don't know about that orange color. I'm pretty disappointed with it. I'm going to do violet. And negative 3. And boom. Well, there you go. You don't have to print anything for that because it's going to open up the turtle. All right. Well, that is the program. I'm going to stop recording.